Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, Buddha Affirmation. Here every story has a purpose and every lesson is meant to help you grow in a life. So let's dive into a new story that will teach us how our small choices can lead to bigger consequences. So let's start the story. Once upon a time, a great monk was lying on his deathbed, surrounded by his disciples. As his life came to an end, he turned to his successor, a young monk, and said, "Remember one thing, never let a cat into your life." And with that, he passed away. The crowd that had gathered to witness the monk's final moment was stunned. Everyone had expected profound spiritual advice, but never let a cat into your life. What could that possibly mean? The young monk, now the successor, was puzzled. Why would he warn me about a cat? He thought to himself. Even after the cremation ceremony carried out with a great reverence, the young monk could not stop thinking about his master's last words. In the monastery, there was an old monk who had served alongside the master for many years. This older monk had closely observed the master's life, but due to his age, he was not chosen as the successor. Noticing the young monk lost in thought, the old monk approached him and asked, "What is troubling you?" The young monk explained, "Our master's last words were about never letting a cat into my life. I just can't figure out what he meant." The old monk smiled knowingly and said, "Oh, there is a story behind those words. Let me tell you about it. Years ago, when the master was still a young man, he renounced his family, his home, and all worldly attachments. He left everything behind and retreated to a dense forest to live in solitude. Eventually, he settled near a small village. The villagers respected him and were happy to have a holy man nearby. They built a small bamboo hut for him, where he could live peacefully. The master only owned two simple ropes, which he wore alternately while meditating and performing his spiritual practices. But soon a problem arose. Rats began invading the hut. They chewed holes in the bamboo walls and worse, started gnawing on the master's ropes. He only had two ropes, so it was a serious issue for him. And then the master turned to the villagers for help. "What can I do to protect my ropes from the rats?" he asked. The villagers suggested a solution. "Why don't you keep a cat? The cat will scare the rats away." It seemed like a practical idea. So the villagers brought him a cat, and they thought the rats would stay away and the master's claws would be safe. But a new challenge appeared. The cat needed milk to survive. This meant the master had to visit the village every day, begging not just for food for himself but also for milk for the cat. Frustrated with the extra work, the master asked the villagers for advice again. "How do I feed the cat without making daily trips to the village?" The villagers suggested. "Why don't you keep a cow? With a cow, you will have plenty of milk for yourself and the cat. You won't need to ask us for milk anymore." The idea made sense to the master. Soon, the villagers gifted him a healthy cow. But cows need grass to eat. So, now the master found himself making trips to the village to gather grass for the cow. Once again, he asked the villagers for help. The villagers replied, "It does not seem right for a holy man to beg for grass. We have a better solution. There is a widow in our village who has no one to look after her. She is kind and hardworking. We can ask her to help you. She can take care of the cow and grow grass near your hut." The master hesitated but eventually agreed. The widow moved into a small cottage near the master's hut and started tending to the cow. She also grew grass and crops in the nearby field. At first, the arrangement was purely practical. The woman took care of the daily chores and the master focused on his spiritual practices. But as time passed, the master began helping the widow with her work. They spent more and more time together, working in the field, caring for the cow, and tending to the hut. Slowly, an emotional bond formed between them. The widow was kind and beautiful, and the master was young. Living so closely together, their relationship deepened. Eventually, they fell in love. After some time, the widow became pregnant and they had a child together. One day, while holding his newborn child, the master had a moment of clarity. He thought to himself, "What have I done? I left my family, my home, and all worldly attachments to walk the spiritual path. At here, I am back where I started, with a family, a home, and responsibilities. How did all this happen?" Then he realized that it all began with the cat. To protect my ropes, I brought the cat into my life, and from there, one thing led to another. Now I am completely entangled in the very life I had renounced. And then the old monk finished his story and looked at the young successor. "This is why your master told you never to let a cat into your life." The cat is metaphor. It represents small, seemingly harmless decisions that can snowball into bigger consequences. If you give your mind even a little leeway, it will slowly take control. Before you know it, you will find yourself far from the path you intended to follow. The young monk reflected deeply on this lesson. It is a story that applies to all of us. Often, we let our minds convince us to try something just once. We think it is no big deal. I can stop anytime. But that one small step can lead us down a slippery slope. For example, someone might try drugs just once out of curiosity, but over time, that one experiment can turn into a addiction. Or you think about junk food. You might know it is bad for your health, but you tell yourself one bite won't hurt me. Soon it becomes a habit, and before you realize it, your health starts to decline. The same principle applies to procrastination, or spending, or any behavior that seems harmless at first but can grow into a major problem if left unchecked. The lesson is clear. Never let the cat into your life, and be mindful of the small choices you make, because they can lead to bigger unintended consequences. Keep your focus, stay disciplined, and don't give in to distractions or temptations that can steer you away from your goals. After all, it is the small, seemingly insignificant decisions that shape the course of your life. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, hit like button, and for more such stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you and stay positive.